Obviously, yes. So it just tells you that something definitely went wrong. I've heard various versions of this, the cause of this particular situation, okay, this disaster. Yes, some would put it squarely at the feet of the VRA. The VRA is also pushing back and saying they didn't anticipate. Yes. Not that they didn't anticipate, that they did what they could. That's the case, right? Yes, because saying they didn't anticipate means that they are even, I'm even saying that they are nailing themselves, right? Incriminating themselves, no. It's really difficult. Look, you see, Honorable Dafia mentioned the matter of foreseeability, you see. And the law of negligence, you see, foreseeability is one critical factor in trying to establish a duty of care. So what we are looking at is that if we're looking at it in terms of negligence, okay, if you're trying to, and negligence, that's if the people are going to make a case against VRA, they'll be looking at the fact that was there a duty of care? Did VRA owe them a duty of care? And in trying to find out if there was a duty of care, the first thing you'll be looking at is that, was it foreseeable? Were there enough facts that showed that, hey, danger was looming? Was there enough? And so having seen that there was enough, the next question is that, what did VRA do? So if it was very clear, as Honorable is saying, and I'm sure VRA too will have their say as to whether they want to dispute or admit. If it was very clear that, look, listen, the water levels were very too high and so spillage will cause so much harm, then they owe the duty to do a lot more. So to the extent that that duty has not been executed, that duty is not being fulfilled, then it means that VRA could be in for trouble. That's the thing.
Well, so yes. A number of the MPs who have been affected have indicated the notice to institute a legal action against the VRA over the flooding. I mean, Okujato Ablakwa and then the Keta MP. And is this an option you are considering as well?
Why not? Class action. Like it said, duty of care, whether that duty was breached. You see, the breach is not the issue.
Okay.
Whether the breach was foreseeable.
That's what foreseeability of
yes, because
I have 3 lawyers.
We
so
can look at the legal options. But hold on, I have some information to provide.
You have some information?
Yes.
Okay, Martin Pebo, let's get to the point. Yes.
He says, yeah, so let him come in. Then
what information
it will enrich the discussion for me to go
back to the time of acquisition of the land for the purpose of construction of the dam. And you find that one in Act 46.
Yes.
VRA Act.
Yes.
And the acquisition in respect of the implementation of the project.
Yes.
And the 280 feet.
That's the 280 contour. That's what we call it, yes.
And the resettlement plan.
Yes.
You see, if you look at all that in totality, you will see that the human error, which was supervised by the Construction and Management Committee of VRA, is where the problem comes from.
A human error.
The human error. Settlement problem.
That's negligence.
Negligence.
It's not human error.
Would you describe it as human error or
you make your point. I like the angle you are bringing.
If you allow me the opportunity to conclude. You see, in the acquisition program, they had identified a certain portion of land that... They had identified a certain portion of land that was considered as uninhabitable.
Okay.
And they had also acquired a certain portion that was reserved for settlement. And you will see the uphill areas as identified, acquired within the acquisition and paid for by government of Ghana. So that all these communities will be removed and positioned at this point. So my question would be, how did we get here and why did we get here? But before then, let me congratulate Roxin. I was listening to him when I was coming for providing the technical information and the statistics I just want to congratulate him because I didn't know he was that scientific. So now I'll be careful if I'm doing a case with him in science. Yes. So during the acquisition, all these things were anticipated. In fact, the spillage and the Bagri Dam, everything was considered. If you go into the memorandum, you will find all this and the solutions prescribed. And the area that was earmarked as a no-go area for settlement. You understand? So Ghana, we are very fond of making very fine plans, but implementation fails us. So I see it more as an engineering failure than a calamity. Because all these things were anticipated within the general framework of the project. That, again, from my little technology in my house, when I have an overhead tank, there is something that they call a ball that is in it. That when it gets to
the cork,
yes,
blocks it.
When it gets to that level, it will naturally cease. I read something that says that at any point when the water level gets to this level, it will have to be discharged. But in the discharge arrangement, there was a recovery plan that discharge into a reservoir and repump into the stream where water levels go down.
Right.
Sometimes when water levels go down, we blame God. It's not raining. It's not raining. Now that it is raining too, we want to blame God and say that it is raining too much. It is absence of the technological intervention that is bringing about this calamity.
And that level that you talk about, that when it gets to water has to be spilled for safety purposes to save the integrity of the dam, it's 276 feet.
Yeah, 276.
276.
That's the
feet.
maximum
that
power
just
production level.
Low, 2 feet low from the maximum level.
From the highest water level.
So if the data we have is anything to go by, that as at, and Honorable said as at April, May,
yes,
the dam level was at 277.
Yes, we're doing over 277. In fact, the whole year.
So that.
See, now let me come in. There is a maximum level, there is a minimum level,
yes,
and there is an optimal level.
Yes.
Optimal operational level.
Yes.
And you always have to target the optimal,
yes,
not the maximum.
Yes.
Because at the maximum, you are getting into dangerous areas.
In fact, he's making a case for you.
Yes.
He's supporting your point.
Yes.
That VRA, since 2021, we've been doing above 277 feet. Since 2021. But the optimum, in fact, the maximum power production level, which they require, is 276. So we talk of the optimal, and the lowest is 240.
When you get to the maximum, you are getting into dangerous areas.
Thank you. You are
Because
putting the pressure, the concrete under pressure. It can buckle, it can crack.
Well,
so if you allow me to finish.
Yes.
So, what question I want to ask is, why have we ignored all the technical and engineering warnings that has brought us here? Why have we gotten this problem even at all?
No, who has to bear the burden of this question you're asking? Is it the VRA?
In all projects, there are evaluation and monitoring departments that go throughout the life of the project, not only at completion and implementation, but go through all. And there must be continuous monitoring. But again, we have left out another portion of taking care of the overflow. We should not allow it to just flow anyhow. The technology in the construction was that if there was an expected overflow, we needed to harvest that for reuse. And that aspect of it, we have ignored.
So you're talking about I keep going back to who has to bear the burden.
No, that is reverse cycling.
Of this.
That's the reverse cycling technology.
That's right.
You're talking about the authorities, the VRA. They should have done this.
Yes. In fact, it was part of the general project that by all means, in fact, they anticipate by all means it will happen. Some of these things were anticipated even at construction. But when it does, how to solve it?
How do you care for? How do you remedy it?
And how do you turn this seeming tragedy into triumph? By way of bringing it back to support where you need more water. You understand? And we seem to have neglected that aspect of it. And we are saying that when you come to this point and there is a perceived agreement for spillage, let it spill. How it will spill, we did not describe. And it is in the construction document that says that when the spillage is there, let us harvest and reuse.
Right.
And why have we allowed even the spillage to go
Waste.
to waste? Number one, to waste. Number two, to destroy. And number three, to be expensive. So it means that we are not implementing the project the way that the designers anticipated. And this is the problem. My brother, when you go there, you find some people who are living there who are victims of this spillage now. Indeed, most of them are not indigenes of the place. The indigenes for which the acquisitions affected were resettled on the high areas. But some of us will just go there. Me, a bushman from Ashanti region, I'll go there. And I think that, why have they left this place? Not knowing that the people there, the indigenes, they themselves, they've been compensated and they've been resettled. And they have been resettled at the safe areas. But me, Ashanti man...
Now, whose duty was it to prevent...
Yes, I'm coming there. But then let me explain why. So people who came there are non-indigenes and saw the land there and probably they got there in dry seasons and thought that they were safe lands and located. Most of the people victims here are not local indigenes because they understand the hydrology of the construction. And they were forewarned, and they have been resettled and they have been taken care of. But those of us who see land as land and just go there, will go and settle. So most of these people are people who have come beyond the construction. But that does not mean that we don't have to take care of them. That does not mean that we have to take care of them. And indeed, it happens everywhere. Even in Accra here, where people are not supposed to build, we allow them to build. And they build in waterways. People have the mandate to prevent that, and they don't do it. This one, VRA had a mandate to supervise construction in the whole catchment area. And that if it is on record that this place is not habitable, VRA owed a duty to the state to ensure that people did not settle there.
So for you, the question of accountability should be asked and answers demanded, even at this stage.
But Ghana, and I like something that Roxy started, that negligence, and my good friend also supported. Ghana, professional negligence, we need to criminalize it. If we don't, the people who have caused this mess, they are sleeping somewhere. Maybe they are even profiting from the mess. So in the same thing in the road sector, somebody goes to sign a certificate that it is done. 6 months, the road starts to deteriorate. The man who has signed that, paid him, he has taken his money and he's sleeping. Let's bring people like that back and face the law and punish them, so that some of us will learn from it. Because this professional negligence must be a criminal offense.
There is some in the Act 29.
You support the legal action. You support the legal option to
yes.
Support.
But again, when you say legal action, you are going to exact damages, and it will go against VRA. But I want us to go beyond the civil action into a criminal realm, where somebody who would have put his signature as something done, undone, will come and face a criminal trial.
You have lost 200 acres of rice farm.
That is why I have so much pain. But I'm looking at the bigger picture.
He went to farm where he wasn't supposed to farm.
No, Lawyer Martin Pebu was on a point, and I think that I want him to just conclude.
Okay.
Lawyer.
All right. So I say that in law, for us, when you want to hold somebody responsible for their negligence, there are 3 elements. There must be a duty of care.
Okay.
That duty is being breached, and then there's resultant damage. So I said that this one, the main issue would be the duty of care. Was that a duty of care this on the part of VRA and by extension government of Ghana. And as we even go on to establish that duty of care matter, Honorable, you know, the Act 46,
Yes.
it says that every year, apart from VRA presenting its report to the president, the report must also be laid before Parliament. Is that section 29? So may I find out in the interim that were you guys every year were they doing it? Because Act 40
it comes before the sector
Roxy,
committee.
you remember
Yes.
just before we rose,
Yes.
I did a paper
Yes.
on
Yes.
drainage
Yes.
in Ghana,
Yes.
and I made reference to
Yes.
this act.
Yes.
And I also talked about the negligence.
Yes.
As if I was a prophet.
Yes, I
You
recall
recall?
that statement.
yeah, section 32.
Yes,
Okay.
and I also recall that just this August, the Director General of NADMO came before the Public Accounts Committee.
I wasn't there.
Well, yeah, you were not there. We interrogated the issues. Apparently, he had nothing as at that time. And Chairman Veji was practically sad that if any form of disaster strikes today, how is it going to go?
You mean they had no
As if
relief items?
Just 1 month down the line,
And
we are
this is
here.
what's happening.
But in addition to what my senior...
No, hold on to the point. I don't want you to lose it. Let Martin Pebo conclude.
Yes, he made a point. But I want to say that those reports come before the sector-specific
Committees,
which
not
is
the
mines and
plenary.
energy.
Okay.
And they will deal with it.
And
Then so
the
we should have
statements-
some
I see.
Yes.
we should have some clarity as to whether they saw the water levels. This issue that has been mentioned that for 3 years now the dam has been under so much stress, because if for 3 years they've been bringing accounts and then bringing those reports, were we reading the reports, were we flagging the issue that then let's take steps, you see, because the section 32 says that they should state any other thing. It's not just account. It says that so provide financial that's provide the financial information and such information, okay, with regard to the proceedings and policy of the authority as the authority considers may properly be given without detriment to the interests of the undertaking of the authority, right? And blah, blah, blah. So it's not just accounts, but it's say policy and any other information. So if you have a problem, the dam is in distress, why don't you? That's what you'll be highlighting first. That's what I'm saying, that maybe we should bring the committee. So from where it's looking, I mean, from where it's
Martin,
headed,
from
it
the warning
appears...
that I made and referred to the same act, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Because I did say that it is bound to repeat.
You see that?
Roxy, remember?
I recall.
And there was
I
the whole house.
contributed.
You did contribute. And you know, in spite of the warnings and the reference even to this same act, nothing happened, and we waited until we got to this point.
Yeah.
So the negligence is clear, but Ghanaians, as long as he
Right.
is able to recover, we forget.
Let Martin
Yeah,
Pebo, yes,
okay.
conclude on the point.
Yes, so basically, the three elements: duty, breach, damage. The damage is what the people are suffering, what we've seen. Houses haven't been submerged, goods and other properties gone. That's the damage. That's the damage. So VRA really has to, I mean, be very forthright and has to be very proactive in trying to see how they can mitigate the damage. So that, of course, if they're able to do so much, to be able to assuage the needs and the other concerns of the people, then we can avert a lawsuit. Otherwise, with this, we are likely to get one. And that doesn't
The only
bode well.
one.
I mean, we'll get a
Maybe
lawsuit.
a class action.
Oh, yes, class action. So, well, okay, not I meant one like lawsuit in terms of a source of seeking accountability, because a lawsuit will bring accountability. See, when we go to court and VRA is asked questions, it's a form of accountability. Accountability is not done only in Parliament. No, when you go to a court of law, that's accountability you're seeking. VRA will be asked questions, how they sat on their hands and allowed this situation to build and eventually to occur and cause so much harm and, you know, damage to people. So that will be accountability. And
beyond
then,
that,
of course, if they are
professional
found
negligence.
liable, if people are found to be negligent and all that, all those are forms of accountability. Even the fact that you lose a case doesn't mean you've lost accountability. The responses they give also, yes, the whole process of it is accountability.
It's a learning curve.
Yes, it's accountability. So it's not just the final answer. So it's not just the final sentence, not the final fine, not the final compensation. That's accountability. The questions that are asked, even the failure to answer the question in the box, is also accountability, meaning that you have no answer or you are running away. So VRA should get these loans and see what it can do. But it has to be very, very, very proactive.